For today's video, I am going to be responding to your acne DMs on Instagram. I get a bunch of messages, emails, Facebook texts, all of these things that I wish I could reply to, and there's only 24 hours in a day, and life is hard, and being a YouTuber is hard, and blah blah blah, wickety blah, blah 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 blah. Let's get started. So this first message comes from Mikayla, and she was actually so kind to send photos of her acne as well. She's talking about suffering from acne for about 7 years, which is a long time, and she has tried different medications and washed her face, but unfortunately the acne keeps coming back. And I know how it feels to clear your skin or get semi-clear skin and then have it relapse. And I first have to say, again, not a doctor. I am not a licensed medical professional who is allowed to treat or diagnose, and of course, my opinions are never supposed to be a replacement for medical advice. But when I do look at your skin, excuse me, I do see that it looks a little bit inflamed. And I specifically see acne here on the cheeks and kind of up here by the forehead and by the jawline. And just by placement, it makes me wonder, are hormones involved? Because often this kind of jawline area could be associated with hormonal acne, specifically adult acne, or women who deal with PCOS, polycystic ovarian syndrome. And if you do have an excess growth of facial hair, you might want to see if your doctor could check your hormone levels or something. And then also here on the cheeks. And to be honest, I can't see any excellent photos of the forehead, but the ones that I can, the forehead does not look that bad. And so it also makes me wonder, is there something that you are using on the cheeks, such as a dirty makeup brush or something like that, that could be aggravating this, or a dirty sponge that you're putting back in? And if the makeup is not an issue, then it does look a little bit more inflamed and it could potentially be hormonal. Mikayla does mention that she has been on Accutane twice, which did help but then did not. She has used Proactive and a natural soap, which both didn't work. Now the thing about Proactive is that I believe it has a base of benzoyl peroxide, so it could be that benzoyl peroxide is not right for you. Also, Accutane is very drying. Accutane is a derivative of vitamin A, and it can be very helpful for some people, but not for others. And it looks like she's also done Fractora treatments, which is a laser that costs 565 Canadian dollars each time. Oh, and I have to say, like, it sounds like you have tried the big guns. You've tried the lasers, you've tried Accutane, all these other things. What I can say is, if you have tried literally every single product and active ingredient, if you have tried glycolic acid, if you have tried sulfur, if you have tried the active ingredients and they're not working, try to ask yourself if there's anything you haven't tried as far as stress management, as far as dietary choices. Do you eat a lot of dairy? Are you under a lot of stress? Are your hormone changes out of whack? Are you allergic to something? Because for people who do have this severe cystic acne that sticks around after all of these other treatments, you really have to start asking yourself, is there something outside of products that could help me more? So Mikayla, my heart goes out to you, and I hope that we will be in touch more in the future, and I hope that we can stay connected, and I hope that you find what works for you, because I understand how real the struggle is. But I love you, and I think that you're beautiful regardless, and I hope that you can see that too. This next message is from D. Patlova. I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name, but this person says that they have been helped by the videos on YouTube. That makes me so happy to hear. And this person brings up Revolution Skincare as a copy to The Ordinary. Have I tried it, and what do I think? So I have been hearing a lot about Revolution Skincare. Full disclaimer, I have never used their products before, but if you want me to, I am so down to go out and purchase some or go find some and try them out. The Ordinary is one of my favorite brands, and if you want a video about everything that's going on with them, which is kind of scary and, you know, very dramatic, I will link you to that video. But The Ordinary is a brand that used to have very inexpensive, high efficacy ingredients. And because of the founder's death, I'm afraid that that's going to change, and prices are changing, and it is concerning. So Revolution Skincare looks interesting because they have some products that are pretty much the same. They have a niacinamide and zinc formula. They have an AHA BHA peeling solution. And I'm like, oh my God. And the price is comparable, like under $10 for a lot of these high potency things. So looks good, haven't tried it, and the real question is, do they actually compare ingredient-wise? Are they the same quality? So let me know, and your girl will do some digging. This next message is from Just Jaylene, and she is asking about texture covering foundation. Specifically, if I still use the Ultra HD foundation from my original foundation tested video to cover acne. The truth is, I do not use that foundation anymore, and there are 2 reasons. Number 1, I didn't understand ingredients back then. Number 2, I didn't understand cruelty-free, and I was not vegan back then. Makeup Forever is not vegan, they are not cruelty-free, and in today's day and age, like, there is really no acceptance for that. It's disgusting. And then on top of that, when you look at the ingredients, they're really not that great. I used Makeup Forever HD for years, but I don't think it's because the foundation was amazing. It was good at covering color, but it really was not superb at covering texture. I think that the reason that I used it and it worked so well is because of the layering. If you go back and watch that video, I used multiple layers of product. And for me, layering is how I fill in scars, it's how I cover raised texture. That's how I do it. It's all in the layering. So no, I no longer use that foundation, nor do I recommend it. So what do I recommend? Just Jaylene is going to the store soon. She's struggling with mild cystic acne and wants some recommendations. And I've actually got some recommendations for you, some that I have tried and tested on my skin. Oh, the sun's coming out. These are 2 that I have tested on my own skin that actually live on this channel. So if you want to see how these hold up throughout an entire day of wear, you can see the before, the middle, and the after. This is the Power Play foundation from Cover FX. It is a liquid formula and it is very, very lightweight. It also has rice in it, so it helps to control oil, which can really help, especially for that acne-prone skin. It goes on phenomenal, and I actually tested this in a Waterfall, and it holds up. So if you need all day wear, long wearing foundation, this is an excellent one. Again, it does kind of go on lightweight, however. This is one that goes on a little bit thicker. This was the one that I tested out in India. One of the most impressive foundations I've ever used. It's from Wander Beauty. This is phenomenal and it does go on a bit thicker. It also has a beautiful coverage on the skin that really is great for scars. There's no parabens, there is no mineral oil, there's no nasties in it. It's a much more natural formula. The only thing which you saw that I don't like is the applicator. If you have acne on your face, you take this, you apply it, you get bacteria from your skin onto this, you hold it in here like a petri dish. It's gross and I normally hate these applicators. The good thing is, do you see this? You can literally push this foundation right out of the top, woo, just like that. And you could put a beauty blender or a sponge in here really easily, or a brush that you could wash. So highly recommend, just forget the applicator, literally rip this piece off and just use the cap, but then use the foundation straight out of here. It is amazing. If you want to see how these held up on my skin after 12 hours of wear, this was tested in Waterfall in Hawaii, and this was tested on a holiday in India. So feel free to check this out. But then one that I have not yet done a video on that is brand new is Vanish from Hourglass Cosmetics. This one's a little bit more expensive. I think it's $54 or $56. They do have 36 shades, but the good thing about this is how well it covers texture. They made this Vanish foundation to be super smooth on the skin. It is supposed to be full coverage with one application. So the whole thing is that it's seamless and you're not supposed to have to layer. And I have to say, when you put it on, it does go on really nice, really thick. It dries down to a beautiful finish, and this covers phenomenally. Scars and raised bumps. The only thing is that if you do have dry skin, this formula can stick to some of those dry skin patches. But if you have oily skin, or if you do have coverage that you need on texture, this stuff is phenomenal. Highly, highly recommended, and it's brand new from Sephora. Now lastly, this is a drugstore option from Catrice. I love that they are drugstore, inexpensive, like 10 to 15 bucks, and they have 40 shades for all skin types. This is the HD Liquid Coverage Foundation, and it lasts for 24 hours, and it's mattifying. So if you want something inexpensive, and if you do have oily skin, this is amazing. Comes in a dropper form, so it is sanitary, but even though it comes in a dropper, it's a very thick consistency. So if I just drop it onto the skin here, you see it's not like a traditional liquid. Like, it actually goes on pretty tacky. And you can build this. I find that you can make it look very natural, and it covers color phenomenally, and you can make it cover that texture. So those are 4 options, 2 of which we have tried on this channel. and 2 that I have not done videos on, but if you want them, let me know. So now I have like 3 that I potentially owe you. You tell me, I'm a genie in a bottle, baby. You tell me what you want, and I'll put it on my face for you. The next message is from Beverly, and she's been a huge fan on YouTube and just discovered the Instagram. So hi, welcome to the cats and the travel and the acne and the fun. Do I have any recommendations on products that reduce rosacea? Yes. So rosacea is super tricky because we don't exactly know the cause, and oh, haha, look at me, wow, phone light, hello. Ah, sorry. Rosacea is tricky because we don't exactly know the cause, and on top of that there are many different triggers. Rosacea can be characterized by little red bumps on the skin. It can sometimes feel like the skin is burning or on fire, and it's usually kind of like a rash or a flush, and it could happen when you're embarrassed and just stick around, but it's characterized by this red face. And the reason that it happens is that people with rosacea essentially have an immune response that is overactive in the skin. We have blood vessels throughout our entire body, and a lot of them in the skin. And for people with rosacea, those are either closer to the surface of the skin, or they get dilated more easily, or both. My father actually gets rosacea breakouts when he drinks too much wine. And the things that trigger rosacea could be products, for instance, acne products that have salicylic acid, but it's frustrating because if you have rosacea and acne, what are you supposed to do? Products that are too drying can cause rosacea. Lots of people who have rosacea claim that sun exposure really triggers their flare-ups. And then certain people, different changes in weather, so going somewhere humid or even walking from one room that's hot to one that's cold can do it. Being embarrassed, you get a little flush and then the redness just sticks around. And on top of that, even some foods such as spicy foods, foods that you might have an allergic reaction to, hot foods even. So there can be a lot of different triggers, and the essence is that these blood vessels in the skin dilate, allowing more blood to come through, and then that is seen through the skin as this flush. So products for rosacea that have been medically proven, the first, you do want to make sure that you're using a sunscreen or a good moisturizer or both. When it comes to sunscreen, if you have anything that has avobenzone, oxybenzone, or any of those chemical ones that end in O-N-E, those are first off not so safe for the oceans. Second off, they usually have negative effects on people with rosacea-prone skin. So seeing as the sun is a trigger, you want to avoid the sun, but you also want to avoid the products that will break you out. So I would recommend going for a mineral or physical sunscreen. This one has zinc oxide, which is a physical sunscreen and is generally regarded as safe by the FDA as well as for rosacea-prone skin. This is excellent, and on top of it, it has a moisturizer in it. People who have rosacea usually need a moisturizer, but they need one that won't break them out. This one is actually formulated with aloe vera and with plant antioxidants and no artificial fragrances. So this is a really good choice as a moisturizer, as an everyday cream, and as something to protect the skin from the sun. Secondly, this is a power puppy. Rosacea-prone skin does really well with hydrating ingredients, and at the same time you need some of those anti-acne ingredients. But unfortunately, salicylic acid and benzoyl peroxide, which are normally used for acne, can really irritate rosacea-prone skin. So this is from Tarte. It's called the Blemish Bully, and this actually has caffeine and azelaic acid. Azelaic acid is an acid that has been shown to be super helpful for rosacea-prone skin in decreasing some of those little white pustules and bumps. It is also a non-drying acid, so it is hydrating, and on top of that, it can help to mildly exfoliate the skin without causing damage. This is an acne spot treatment, and it also has caffeine in it. Now, there have been studies, and there are people with rosacea that say that oral consumption of caffeine can help. Oral consumption meaning drinking. So caffeine on a biological level acts in our body as a vasoconstrictor and a vasodilator. Vasoconstrictor meaning making veins tighter, and vasodilator meaning making them bigger. So how does it kind of do both? That is complex. It's also why it makes your heart increase and sometimes gives you diarrhea. But when some people drink caffeine, there have been correlations in certain studies showing that there is a less chance of having rosacea. And one mechanism might be because the caffeine constricts the blood flow to those little capillaries that end up flaring up in the face. So drinking caffeine could help. Now, this has topical caffeine. Does topical caffeine impact the little veins the same way that drinking it orally does? Not overall in the body, but there are some promising results. And in general, topical application of caffeine or caffeine-infused products could be helpful. And they're non-drying. So this is a spot treatment from Tarte, definitely recommended for any of those little areas. And if you find that you need something that really works, you could try to dilute this with a moisturizer and put it all over the skin. This is one of my favorites as well. It is a non-drying spot treatment. There's a couple things about it that I wish were better, but for $14, it is something that if you have acne and your acne hasn't been clearing up, or you don't like the drying, or if you have rosacea plus acne, this is for you. This next message is from Chaz Oak. She's just sending me some acne pictures, and she's saying that the videos here online have helped change her life. I definitely see progress from the first photo to the second. There's still some open pustules, but look at how much some of the pigmentation has gone down. You're so beautiful. I love you, and I hope you're having a great week, my dear. Thank you so much for also just posting a comment, sharing a video, leaving a like. It really does show me that, you know, it makes a difference in your life. Because when I film these, like, I'm staring at a camera next to a wall. It's kind of lonely. And then I edit these, it's kind of lonely. But actually hearing that these things help you is what I live for. And it's why I love my beautiful butterfly family so much. This next question is from Shanna. She has been watching for years and she can't express how helpful the videos have been. I am so happy to hear that. English isn't your first language, but it honestly sounds like it to me, so that's awesome. And Shanna wants to know the difference between Retin A and Retin A Micro. And she sometimes gets tiny bumps and she has congested skin. She exfoliates with a scrub and uses tretinoin or a retinoid, but they're still there. So first off, Shanna, Retin A and Retin A Micro are actually very similar. They are two creams that both are essentially derivatives of vitamin A, and what they do is that they actually change gene expression in the skin. When they go in, they kind of sit around in the oil gland, and they can increase cellular turnover, they can create collagen all the way down in the dermis, and they can stop so much oil production. The skin actually produces its own enzyme, and it kind of allows the skin to facilitate different forms of retinol or retinaldehyde into benefits for your skin. And so some people who have compromised skin function or who cannot create that enzyme might have issues, but for a lot of people with acne-prone skin, retinoids, Tazorac, Retin A Micro are amazing. So what's the difference between Retin A and Retin A Micro? They are super similar. Retin A delivers all of this at once, and it sits on the skin and it soaks in, whereas Retin A Micro is micronized. They basically take the same active ingredient, but they make it time released so that it kind of releases throughout the day. Think of it as drinking a gigantic venti cup of Starbucks coffee. If you chug that first thing in the morning, you might be jittery, you might be really, really hyper, and then that might taper down pretty soon, and by halfway through the day, you're like, oh my god, I'm dead. Now compare that to drinking a tall cup of coffee and drinking a little bit in the morning, then a little bit of time goes by, you have one more midday, then you have one in the afternoon. You kind of have a more continual influx of caffeine. So that's kind of how it works in the skin. All the Retin A could go on all at once, or it is time released and kind of gives you these boosts throughout the day. So people find that Retin A Micro does tend to work better for that reason because it is all day. But for people who are going out in the sun, retinoids should not always be used in conjunction with sun exposure. So you might find that using just plain Retin A at night is a better choice. But again, always speak to your doctor. Always speak to your doctor. It sounds like you have been doing that, and that is great. And I believe that you do need a prescription for both Retin A and Retin A Micro anyways. So I hope that you enjoyed reading these acne messages with me on Instagram. If you do have an acne message, I would love it if you sent it to me in an Instagram DM. And if you're not already part of the Instagram fam, please come say hi. I share a little bit more about my life, about my friends, my cats, my travels, etc. And we do even Instagram stories that talk about new skincare products, what's right for each person, etc. and makeup tips to cover the acne if you so choose to. So come say hi on Instagram if you haven't already. Leave some little butterflies, and if you want to do another one of these in the future, let me know. Brian Turner is a guy who has acne. He is also vegan, and going vegan really helped him clear his skin. He also took Accutane, which was kind of interesting. It was quite a journey for him. He was the one who originally did one of these style videos, which really inspired me. And I just wanted to give that little shout out, give credit where credit is due. And on top of that, he's a really good reference for anyone who is male and struggling with acne, because I know that sometimes the psychosocial aspects of having acne as a guy can be different. I hope that you enjoyed these. I cannot wait to see you in Instagram and on DMs. Again, I'm busy. I try to get to the comments. I try to get to the DMs. I try to get to the emails, the Facebook messages, the tweets, all of those things. It is not always possible. But because so many people do ask similar questions, I really like the idea of doing these in videos. I love that we can kind of discuss some of these potentially helpful things together as a real conversation, and that we can share the knowledge, the education, and the inspiration, so that instead of having that all transpire just through a DM, maybe somebody else could see that and benefit as well. So always remember to be beautiful both inside and out. I love you guys, and I cannot wait to see you in the next video and on the Instagrams. Love you guys. Bye.